final tape in our satire series, Families and Relationships. On this tape, Virginia deals with the difficulties that can emerge when blended families are formed. Again, she utilizes role plays to dramatize her messages. After demonstrating the difficulties, she goes on to demonstrate the contrast, how it goes when each person is clear about what they want and honest about how they feel. Once again, beginning with self-worth makes this much easier. While this doesn't solve the difficulties that blended families face, it creates an environment in which the search for solutions is easier and more comfortable.
Now, this next piece for me is also a very important piece, and it has to do with a family type that is becoming more and more frequent. Although with the latest statistics, I see that these kinds of families will become less and less. That's the blended family. That was a name that I gave, maybe someone else did too, but I know that I did, to what is formerly referred to as a step family, foster family, or an adopted family. But by far, more of the blended families are made of the step family variety, where a portion of a family that had started out and now is no longer together in how it originally started, and another family gets together, or someone out here comes and make a family when there are already children that are on the way, so to speak, or who are older than just a baby. Now, I like to do that with the role playing, and then I'd like to talk a little bit about it. First, I would also like to say that the form of a family does not determine its nurturing potential. Neither does it determine how it should be. Form of a family is simply a form. I know plenty of people that are in families where the man and woman have stayed together throughout their children's lives until they left very unhappily. There was nothing that prompted or secured that was a wonderful thing to do. I know wonderful, nurturing, harmonious families that have started off and stayed together until the children were ready to leave the nest. So the form didn't seem to make any difference. I know blended families, step families, so to speak, in which these families are magnificent. Everybody in that family has a better life now than what they've ever had before. I know step families or blended families of the step family variety that are miserable. The form does not determine the outcome. I know families in which children are adopted, and it is the best of all possible worlds for them. I know families where children are adopted, and it's miserable. The form does not determine the outcome. I know one-parent families where people are growing and blossoming in a beautiful way, and I know one-parent families where they're miserable. The form does not determine the outcome. There are special considerations, special factors that enter in to each one of these families. We have an expectation that is pretty solid. It's giving way somewhat, but that the expectation is that a person somewhere in their early 20s, preferably early 20s, sometimes late teens, like 19 or so, gets together, makes a decision to marry, mate, and raise their family, and live happily ever after. Despite all we've tried to do, that lingers. And in many people's minds, step families or blended families of the step family variety, adoptive families or foster families, in many people's minds still today are seen as second rate. And that is something that I wish could be erased. That second rateness does not come from the form, but it comes from the outcome of how people communicate with one another in the family itself. So, since so many people are at this moment in time involved in step family situations of the blended family of the step family variety, I want to, first of all, I want to bring some up here, and I want to do a little role playing, and then I want to take a look at the difference between when this form is marvelous for everybody concerned and when this form is hideous, and grades in between. And if I have made the point, the form does not determine the outcome of anything, It's what goes on within the people that are in the form that makes a difference. So, all right, let us now have up here, first of all, I'd like to have a man and a woman, if you would mind coming up here. All right. All right, would you be over there? Now another man and woman, please. Thank you. There's a woman I need. Who is that going to be? All right. Now I'd like to have you two come up here, and you're going to be their children. That's Jennifer, please, and Chris. And then will you three come up here and be their children? Okay. All right. Now I'd like the children to just move back a little bit for the moment. The children move back a little bit. Now once upon a time, that's the way all stories start, there was a young man and a young woman who met each other and fell in love. That was 13 years ago that happened for those two. Now, once upon a time also, these two met, and that was 20 years ago, and they fell in love with each other. Now, 3 years ago, they decided at this moment in time that they had it with each other for whatever reason. And so a divorce was going to take place. Would you just step over there just for a moment? Okay, just over there. Now, what happened with you is only 6 months ago, he had an affair. And this was against your grain, but good. And so you now are divorced. You live in a state where you can divorce in a short time. So you're, okay. All right. Now then, at a certain point in time, you happen to bump in one of your friend's living rooms, this one. And so you go to each other, all right? All right, you just shake hands for a while. Don't be too forward. Yes, okay. Now, this is the beginning of a new unit. Now, what you do is you decide that you now are going to be a one-parent family. You've had it with men. 20 years was enough. And so you're thinking about how now you can go back to school and how you can maybe get a little welfare here and there, how you can make it. Okay. Now, what you're doing is you went off. So you're going off over there somewhere. And you felt so hurt about all of this that you can't even talk to your children. Okay. Now what we do is we're going to come upon this group right now with you two having now met, gotten married, and you're married now 6 months. And you two are coming here. You come like every week or so because he keeps changing his place of living. So you're here most of the time. You go back to your father when he's got a place because he's suddenly become rather irresponsible. Now, these children come from time to time, like once a month or something like that. So I'd like you to come in. All right. All right. Now you have just met your stepmother. And you have just met your stepfather. All right. Okay. Well, that doesn't go like that, but that's something else again. Now, I'm doing this. This is, I could describe this in this kind of way. It doesn't say anything about what goes on in this family. But let me tell you the issues that it brings up. Once upon a time, you had a dream with that man. And he had a dream with you. And the dream has now dissipated. You have to do something with that dream. You have to do something with the dissipation of the dream. And how you deal with that dream is going to depend upon how you communicate, and I'll fix that up in a minute. This one, now the new one, you have higher expectations from him than you ever had from him. also, you have greater fears. You have talked to his sister-in-law, who told you that every once in a while he would be out binging all night. He hasn't done that with you. But, you know, you're watchful of things, even though gonads respond and all kinds of other things happen. You sit on a wariness of the thing, okay? Okay. All right. Now that's just in your insides at this point. Now, you one time had dreams together here with this one, you two.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time, all right. And now you have the same job, to honor the dream and also to let the dream go and to let both of you be left, W-H-O-L-E, free to move on your own life. That's the necessity, okay? All right. So now I want you to go back there. And what we see now is the communication stances. For you, one of the things you played in that family, and you still do because that's what you learned when you were growing up, is you want to see that everything is peaceful and wonderful, so down on your knees to him. That's right. From one knee, one toe, and one knee, you look too secure, all right? Now, one of the things that you learned when you were growing up, which you practiced with her, and of course that fit on some level, that you were the man of the house, you took care of everything. And you made all the decisions, okay? And you held in all your feelings. Wasn't manly to share them, that's right. You were nice. You were generous, except you never talked. And that was wonderful because he chattered like a magpie also. That was another thing he did. And you never could understand him anyway, because see, he's actually a professor of law. All right, so that's where you are with him. Now, with you, one of the things you did, you were brought up to contain yourself as well. To contain yourself. You were brought up to work hard. You were brought up to be objective. You were brought up to be honest. You were brought up to be fair, but no fun. So you're going to go and be even more academic, more fair, more careful, more honest, but no fun. All right? Okay, that's you now. And actually you're relieved to get rid of this relationship. And you will not let any feelings come in the way of anything.
Okay.
So in a way, with him, you couldn't stand the fact he couldn't talk to you, but also it was something that was a little relief. So when he met her before he asked for divorce. And she was so willing to be everything she wanted. And then it turned out, of course, that they got together. That part that comes out later. All right. There's a history behind everything. All right, now, one of the things that happens, you assume that the children here, that since you don't mention anything, and you're very fair and honest and all that the children know exactly what's going on. So you don't bother to talk to them at all. One of the things that you notice is that this one here, very often, is critical of you. Very often. Would you put your finger out toward her? Hand on your hip and figure out toward her. That's good. Okay, critical toward her. Why did you leave Daddy? And you give her a very objective answer. But you don't tell her that now. That's what you do. Now, what you do in relation to that is you go over and you stand by your mother and you support her. That's right, you're the same as she is. Now with you, this whole thing, you become irrelevant. So would you take the irrelevant stance? That's right, okay. And now what happened with you is that you were like your mother. And you wanted to please everybody. So would you please get down on your knees? One toe, one knee, and one toe, hand on your heart. And your other hand up here. That's right, up here, okay? And now what you do is you put your feet together like that, and that's how you move around with your feet together in this way. Now, on those days when you're all together, they happen sometimes, I would like all of you to, with the exception of you, these kids come to visit, so you take yourself over here now, because we're looking at this center unit, and you're busy in school reading your books. I would like all of you to talk in a way that represents your posture. So would you do that, please? And let's start with you. It represents your posture now. The dialogue that represents that.
Would you please come home tonight after work so we can do something together?
Now, what are you saying right now? Because you're all here right now. This is in the morning on Sunday.
I thought he was going to do something with me.
I'd really like it if you could come home just a couple minutes. You know, if we just even have 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say? Can you make up something funny? Or something quite inappropriate? Like, oh my God, did you know I got a canary the other day? Or something like that.
Let's go play basketball.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm busy.
All right, now, something that fits your posture.
Gee, I was really gonna help you out, but I got busy doing something else. And so I'll make it up to you. I'll do more later, next time.
Now you come with your blame. What are you going to blame her for? I'll give you a good line. You're not my mother. You can't tell me what to do. You want to use that line with her? Just try it. We're role playing now. Your name is
You're not
Rosie.
my mother. You can't tell me what to do.
That's right. And put your finger out there. On
You're
top.
not my mother. You can't tell me what to do.
You're not supposed to talk to her that way.
That's right. You show who's boss here. That's right. Now, when he does that, what do you want to do?
Oh, honey, don't be so hard on her.
It's wonderful. And then when she does that, what do you want to do?
Okay.
And so, and when he does that, what do you feel?
I feel like he's really not thinking that. He's talking down to me.
He certainly is. Okay, all right. So then you just bow your head a little bit more, because I think you're into the frying pan now. You went from the fire into the frying pan. But you got your dignity to uphold. Now, what are you coming out with at this moment?
Didn't anybody want to go see Hallie's coming?
Some people are so childish.
Oh, God. Are we going to have a wonderful Sunday, right? All right, now, this is one picture of this. How are you feeling in this family?
Really foolish.
Foolish. How are you feeling? Feel good here? You feel like this is a wonderful place to be?
Speak up.
Oh, that's good. That's for everybody. Yes. Well, who's going to respond to that now? All right. Well, let's see where you are in this family.
I feel very separate. I feel some power, but I feel separate.
Okay. And what do you feel in this family?
Stupid.
Stupid. And what do you feel in this family?
Real uncomfortable.
Real uncomfortable. All right, now let's suppose that the rules in this family are that you should all look happy. That's good. All of you look happy now. Yes. You don't feel happy, but that's the rule, that you look happy. All right, now you go back off to your mothers, you three. Then you go off to your father for a little bit. You're going to come back here. You spend most of your time here. Now, will you share with your husband from where you were about what it was like for you? But only in a placating way.
Oh, honey, it was so awful having everybody here. No one was getting along. Your kids were mad at me. You were getting down on your kids. And I know, I understand, you know, how hard it must be for you. But it just is so unpleasant and it's so hard.
Can you
all
take
of us
the
to be together?
Can you blame yourself somehow that you are too young or too old or too something, so that he'll understand that you are going to take the blame?
I know it's partially my fault because I've only had 2 kids and I'm a lot younger than your wife and inexperienced.
That's a very good line, yes.
So So, I mean, I can understand why your kids wouldn't want to respect me.
She never was good enough anyway for me.
So what about you?
Well, I mean, I just have to keep all of this together. I have both sets of children that I'm responsible for, and I have to work, and there's a lot of demands on me now.
Now, what do you think your chances are for happiness in this marriage?
Not much.
Not much, but please smile. What do you think that your chances are for happiness in this marriage?
What happiness?
Yeah, okay. Well, what do you think your chances are for yourself in this relationship?
Poor, unless I change my posture.
All right. But you might not know that, and that's one of the things that happens. All right. Now, I'm going to move rather rapidly through all of this. This is not the only way that it can happen. Would you get up now? And you carry a great load of anger toward him. Because if he'd only behaved better, things wouldn't have behaved as they did. Okay? And so you got your bony finger out there. And these kids, when they come, you say to them, now listen, I don't want you to have so much contact with your father. He did me in, he's going to do you in. When you go over there, don't you dare tell him what goes on over here. Neither one of you. But go if you feel that you have to. That's your line. Now, you are over here, you've decided you're going to take care of everybody, whether they want it or not. Because you've decided that what this family needs is the hand of a man. A hand of a man, that's right. All right. Now, on the other hand, one of the things, a piece of you want to find out from these kids, what's she really doing? Because what you just noticed is that she got an inheritance from her father. And you want to find out what she's doing with it. Because you're paying heavy alimony to her. All right. So what you do is you say to your kids when they come, what's your mother doing? I want you to hear that. So you come over here now, and you forbade them to say anything over there. So let's see what now you're going to talk to them. And you're present, listening to that.
I'd like to know, what is she doing? I mean, she's got all this money, and what is she doing with all that extra money, her money and mine?
Well, I don't know what she's doing, but she went on a trip last weekend.
She did? Where'd she go?
Oh, just Paris.
Well, then at least she'll be gone for a while, so we'll be together while she's in Paris.
Ask the other kids.
Do you think that's fair?
But she already came back.
Well, it doesn't seem fair that she didn't take, at least you guys with her.
I don't really think it's any of your business.
I will not tolerate that kind of talk in this household. You are to be respectful to your elders.
Mother's point of view isn't being shared here today.
This is between us. This has nothing to do with your mother. I'm just trying to find out some facts about what's happening over there. We're talking about how you talk in this group.
And now I'm going to show you what's happening. You three are between him and her. And I want you to huddle, the three of you together here. And now I want you to pull on this huddle from this side. You pull on this huddle from this side. And you pull. Now, hold that just a minute. Hold that just a minute. Now, over here, you said to them, don't you talk to him. All right? So now you huddle together over here, and you pull on them, and you pull on them. All right. Okay, now whoever's going to win, one of you, and you kids know it, one of them is going to fall on their face, whichever side you go to. And the game is, who loves who the most, who is on whose side. Okay? All right, who's winning over here? Okay, all right. Now let's let that stop. Now these are little vignettes about how the current family has to deal with the personal issues of what goes on between the mates who are gone, over here and here, and also to get the children to be on sides. That is an outcome of the kind of posturing that I did with each other. Now let's take a different look at it entirely. This happens so much of the time. If we're going to heal this, we have to help each one of you to say what you feel and think. Maybe what we can do at this moment is all of you together, including you. And including you, everybody's together. Because what we want to do is make a free opportunity. So what I'd like you to do is come a little bit more into a circle. You two. What we're talking about is a way to heal. So that nobody has to get pulled. Nobody has to feel in any way discriminated against. So let's see what happens if you now just say what you're feeling at this moment. What are you feeling right now as being in this family?
I'm feeling a little scared that it may not stick together, and I'm feeling real angry with my former husband and real afraid of losing the children.
All right. Now would you look at him and tell him that you feel angry with him?
I'm real angry with you.
Okay. And how did it feel for you to just share that right from here?
Tight and freeing all at the same time.
Now you said two things. One is that you were angry with him, and you also said, I don't know if you plan to leave me. Would you ask him? If you worry about that, say that you worry about that, and does he plan to leave you?
I worry about you leaving me, and I'd like to know if you're going to.
I'm not, but I have fears too, that I can't meet all the needs of everybody in the family.
How do you feel hearing your mother and your stepfather as they're talking right now?
It felt really good. They finally talked to each other equally. I'm scared too. All of a sudden, they're both human.
So you begin to feel a sense of relief. What were you feeling as you heard that?
Better they were actually talking.
Better that they were actually talking. Okay, because you knew they had things to say. And what were you aware of feeling as you heard your father and your stepmother at this point?
I felt less scared because he sounded less authoritarian.
Okay, and how did it feel for you?
Less fearful, and I was glad that he was facing towards her instead of trying to pull against him.
So you felt that you had more freedom.
Yes.
Now, how did you feel with what you saw here and heard?
I felt better that, well, that they were letting each other know how they felt instead of just making the other one happy by telling them what the right answer would be.
Wonderful, wonderful. You could begin to feel a sense of the honesty. And I'd just like to say for the record, when this begins to happen, everybody's tension begins to lower somewhat. All right, now I would like to find out how you feel hearing what you all heard here.
Towards anyone individual?
Anyone or yourself, whatever. What came up?
That I don't feel like I need to be taken care of in the same, because that's the same problem that was occurring in our marriage, was that he always felt like he had to take care of me.
And how do you feel about what you hear right now?
That is the same honesty and openness continues, that we might have a place to go from here.
Okay, you and him?
Not as a couple, but just as an extended family.
Okay. All right. Now I wonder if you could share with everybody here what you would like your life to be right now. What you want for yourself.
I want not to be afraid that my children are going to be taken away from me. That I'm going to have the opportunity to grow.
Now, who do you want to say this to?
Okay.
To him, all right?
I understand that you feel like you want to take care of everybody, but I feel like in some ways they need to take care of themselves, and they need to take care of you, and they need to take care of me as well.
What do you want for yourself in your life right now?
The opportunity to go out and do the things that I've always wanted to do.
Now I'd like you to look at your children, feel yourself moving in the direction that you would like to do what you want to do. And what does that feel like to you as you share this with your children at this point?
Go
ahead.
I like feeling that you feel as if you can take care of yourself, and that also you're allowing him the possibility of a new relationship.
That makes me feel really good inside. And I feel like that you children can be part of both worlds, that it doesn't make any difference just where you happen to be at that particular time. You still have two parents and you still have other people who love you.
How does that feel for you? Because we're all together in one room. How does that feel for you?
I feel less threatened about her pulling him away, and...
You want to say that directly to her now? Maybe you can even go a little closer, as close as you feel comfortable doing.
I feel less threatened about the possibility of you pulling him away from me, and also about the possibility of using the kids to play us off against one another.
And how do you feel hearing that from your former wife?
I want those two guys to get back together, so maybe she'll come back.
Do you want to say it?
I wish she would just leave them alone and let bygones be bygones and come back and get our family back together instead of doing all this.
All right, now, share your honesty with him this moment in time.
That's real difficult for me to hear because I didn't know you felt that way, and so that brings up my ambivalence and my love for you that I have always had still.
Okay, now what are you going to do with that? Because when the honesty comes out, then we get into the human questions. What are you going to do with that now that you've discovered this?
I don't know.
Now, are you aware that in terms of the characterization that I gave you, that this would be what you probably would do? Now, I want you to imagine your medallion on your chin, on your chest. It's got yes and no on it. Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to ask the question again and see if, when you think about your medallion, yes and no, that something else happens, let's see, that fits for you. You want to ask her again?
I want you to let go of that guy and his family and come back and help our family get back together again.
No, Barry, I can't do that because when I think about it, there are too many things that we worked through that did not work. And although the other parts are there, they're not strong enough to pull me away from what I have now.
Will you look underneath your medallion and see under no it says, "Thank you very much for asking. It doesn't fit for me right now." Answer is no, without any explanation. Let's see what happens in your throat.
Thank you very much for asking. It doesn't fit for me right now. The answer is no.
Now, do your body feel differently with this last statement than the one before? Where you were waffling all over the place? I want you to be in touch with that. Because as a new family, this often happens. And at this moment in time, this is a new thing for you to say no. Doesn't mean that that changes anything with him. But it's clear from where you are. Probably the first time in your life. How was this for you, what your mother just did?
It was great. We didn't have to move again.
And what about for you?
It was better because if she came back, then they would just fight again.
So this is going to be better. Okay, all right. Now where are you with this?
Well, I'm very much in touch with men that have been in this position that I work with. That I should be very angry. I'm very angry with her because
Well, show it. What are you going to say?
I'm angry with you because in the times I made some mistakes, I'm willing to admit it now, but you never came forth before, and that was part of the problem. And here you are again just avoiding the issues, and you're just running away, and you're just going to try to do it again and make believe it's right. And this is the third time you've done it, and this is the way it always goes.
How are you feeling about that?
I feel a lot of anger towards you right now, Barry.
You want to tell them about it?
Darn right I do. You're coming in and trying to bust up a relationship that we just got married, you know, and that you're coming in from the past, and I want you out.
Okay, now, this brings up several dilemmas. What we're talking about is people's feelings about the past and how they are intruding on the present. Because what you want to do is preserve the relationship between these two kids and him. You don't want to have them between you. So now, and he is behaving as though this one is intruding, which he is at this point. That puts you in the middle. So I just want to show you that here. One husband and a past husband. Take her hand. And a past husband. Now, for you to be able to be crystal clear about your no's and your yeses becomes essential at this moment. As he says, you can't come in and do that. It's actually, this is what happens, isn't it? All right, now, you want to make a strong stand at this time? So, all right, make it. And to whom you need to make it? Where you make it to? All right, make it. But not in this position. How are you going to get out of that? There's a 4-letter word, not the one you think. And it goes, stop. Now. Can you do that? Stop. Now. All right, then take your hand away. People usually hear that. All right, now what definitive statement do you want to make?
Baby, I'm not going to go back to you. Ever.
Okay? Now what do you want to say to him?
That I'm going to stay with you forever.
Okay? How do you feel about what you just did?
Very good.
All right. Now, the hardest thing in the world is what just happened here. To be able to make this nice and straight. And be able now really to commit yourself to whatever new things are going to have to happen here. And also putting an end to the relationship between the two of you. How did you feel hearing this from her?
That wasn't the answer I wanted.
No, of course not. But how did you feel hearing it?
I resented her for choosing him over me. I feel like there's something wrong with me, or I'm going to lose her, and then along with her comes the kids, and I'm going to be all alone and confused and not really knowing where I want to go, except I want to hold on to whatever I have left in my life.
Are you aware about how you feel like a victim?
Very much.
All right.
And trying to defend myself, I try to make people strong.
All right. Okay, so this stands as a little shadow right now. You're saying that. Now, in these kinds of cases, this is not one which you can do all by yourself for the most part. You need to have some help. He needs to have some help. You need to have help to be clear about what you're doing. Because this relationship is not finished. And you're using the same old ploys you always use with your mother. Because if you begged hard enough or whimpered long enough, she would finally come through. So you have to stand really firm in what you're doing. These are not easy things. You see, even though he wanted the divorce, he expected you, it was only a threat before, he expected you to not take these steps. Now, one of the important things is we look at the games that are going on. Because this man has a place with these children. Now, you could pick up all your kids and move to the Arctic. He probably wouldn't follow, but that wouldn't change anything. See, what I want to say here is I don't think that there are any easy ways to deal with some of the hard issues in this. Not some of the easy. There's nothing that's really easy about it. However, but you deal with it straight, and then you begin to see what else can happen. This is only the beginning of people being straight. There's a piece of it over here. You feel a little bit outside of what goes on between your parents. When your mother was talking as straight as she did, what did you feel?
It felt good to see her stand up and say what she really wanted. It didn't affect us, in a sense. You know, it wasn't, well, because of the kids or not because of the kids. Or we weren't involved.
What was that like for you, Jennifer?
It was better because she stood and she looked straight too.
She could be straight. So the important thing is that you get your relationship with your father is preserved. At the same time, you're clear about what you're doing. And when this starts to happen, then you each can do the thing that fits, and you don't have to be involved with this, because all of you are on your feet now. You're not blaming, you're not placating, except you. And you may be, I don't know where you are with all of this. So let me ask you something now. You're a family that has just come together. 6 months you've been together. And at this point in time, what do you feel like now?
once you start vacillating, it was an incredible relief for me. And I don't feel as threatened by him. And I was recognizing that I was angry at him because of her indecision. But I couldn't, it was too threatening to take it out on you. I had to take it all out on you.
Okay. All right. As he is saying what he's saying, what happens for you?
I don't even want to hear him because of all the hurt and all the issues that I have.
Okay. All right. So that's perfectly okay where you are. It's not a pleasant place where you are right now, but it's a clear place. So when we work for clarity, then we go further with all of that. And what's happening for you right now?
That for everyone around, it's fine except for him.
Okay. Now what I'd like all of you to do, and see if you can do it. You don't know him very well.
No.
You three know him better. Wonder if there was something that you could give with that would make him feel from where you are about your real support for him as a person. Is there some way you could let him know that?
I can't think of anything.
You can't think of anything now. So actually, you will need to be able to move in a different place yourself so that she doesn't have to do your work for you. Many times children are asked to do that. What are you feeling now of anything that you feel might be able to give your father a sense that he is not really awful at this moment, he's just pained?
Dad, I think it was real brave for you to ask Mom to come back. And even though she said no to everything, I think it was really big of you to do that. And I guess you're just going to have to go on from here. And, we'll be around. And we're still your kids. And we still love you.
What does that feel like for you?
Well, I want to say to them that I love them both very much. I wish I could spend more time with them, and they're really a big part of my life, and I'd like them to remain that way. And,
now, do you have it within yourself to recognize that in order to accomplish that, you need to work out some connections over here?
I tried, but she doesn't want to.
Do you realize that that's then in the future for you? That in order for you to get for the children what you would like to have them have, that's one of the things that has to happen?
The side of me that's myself knows that. The side of me that's role-playing some men and families that I work with.
Well, you be yourself right now, because not too many men can stand what I'm doing with you right now.
That's true. I'm sure I can recognize that there's a future hope.
Of course you can. Now, are you aware that you have to help him with that? Not because you tell him that you're going to go back to him or not, but because you want to preserve the opportunity for the choices of these children to have their father. And they have their father separate and apart from you. The same thing has to be worked out here. So we've taken the first steps now. And whoever at this moment, whatever you feel toward anybody in this group, would you demonstrate it, whatever it is, at this moment in time, whatever you feel. Okay, so keep that the way it is, where you had it before. Just like this. This is where you went first. This is where you went first. Now let's look at what happened. The connection between the two of you, because now you were free to make this connection more. The connection that you had with each other and the connections you had with each other. Now the next one you wanted to make, what was that?
To go to my kids.
All right, so now you go, and what did you want to do?
To the kid.
Okay, all right. So that leaves you to be whatever you want to do, that's right. And you can do what you want. Okay, now let's just at this moment just say a quick word. I'd like a quick word from you as people about what happened for you. What happened for you here in this?
I began to feel more a part of it. In the first part I was strong, but I really felt sort of withdrawn from everyone, and I felt much more attached.
And how was it for you?
At the beginning, it made me realize how complicated things feel and how overwhelming you can feel like, how can you get out of all this mess? And at the end, it felt like the importance of the clarity, even when it still feels confused, but that's the important piece to keep and trust in that.
See, what I want to say, I'm going to ask some others something too, that when the family is coming together in this way and they begin to feel that there are things that they can't deal with, that the most wonderful thing they can do is to go and find help from someone who is outside, which will help tremendously. What were you aware of here?
I feel schizophrenic because part of me wants to go along with all this, and part of me wants to be real strong in my position in the family.
All right, I want you to be Barry now. What happened for you is Barry. We don't have time to treat that other condition.
All right. For me, I got in touch with about the different roles, the reason why men feel so angry and so hurt and become threatening and suicidal or threaten to take the kids away or run away with the kids, and the power that's behind that. It's something that I felt on a different level. It makes me more empathetic to men like that, but also not knowing what to do about it too.
One of the things is that you'll start then helping them to develop some sense of self-worth. That's what you really will be into. Because they're feeling all that's happened is they've lost everything. And they don't have any sense of their own feeling about how they can go further. So the nurturing for them is very important. And we need a lot of people to nurture men in this regard. What are you feeling as yourself?
Very collected, very easygoing, very not threatened. Love for my children.
Okay. What about you? What are you feeling as yourself?
I felt good about aligning myself with my mother, but on the other hand, I sensed I was very acutely aware on the edge that I might lose my sisters to him, and I also wanted to show that I loved him too. You know, it was very uncomfortable.
So there's more things to happen.
Yes,
Some things have opened up.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I felt angry and rejected and out of it. Even when they were being clear, I still felt left out and like that didn't have anything to do with me.
So there's more work for you to do, but the fact that it's opened up for you to do it now. And what did you feel?
Well, I was wanting to see both of my parents, but I didn't want to just be with one more than with the other.
You wanted them to know you weren't taking sides. Wonderful, and that's what most children want. And what was it like for you?
So it was nice to see Mom and Dad natural, being able to talk to each other and say what they really felt. But I felt very out of place with New Pop over there. And I'm not sure where I live either. And so it was a very lost feeling, all in all.
So when you're able to share exactly that, and the freedom in this family is for you to do that, then people will know how to move. And you will know that she has to deal with some things that are insecure for her. There's no way that she can care for him in the way that you do, because she's in a totally different place. What are you feeling?
At first, when they argued a lot, all three of them argued, I felt like moving to California. When everything got worked out, I felt a little better.
Okay. So this is an ongoing process at this moment in time, and I guess one of the things that's so important for me to know is there are no quick solutions to any of these things. They need to be understood, but the first thing that has to happen is that the issues have to be opened up from the honesty of the self, and then we see where we go. Okay, thank you all very much. I'd like to make a few comments about this. First, I'd like to tell you something about me, because I can feel I'm getting tired now. I'm telling you that because if I allow my body or tell my body that I know that it's telling me something and that I can hear it and I acknowledge it, then that helps me to move where I need to go. So I'm getting those messages. Also, could be possible that you would see that I was slowing down. I don't know that I am or not, but I know that there are these two situations that I want to cue you into. And even in the act of saying that, I begin to feel more energized. And I imagine there are other people in this room who are also beginning to feel a little tired. Is there anyone here beside me? And I treat myself, and I hope you'll treat yourself in the same way, to acknowledge what's going on. I just would like to say this. I want to come back to something I've said and over again thought. We are in the process of transition. We're in the process of learning how to be with people in a straight, clear way, and recognizing and honoring the fact that all of us have feelings, and that what's important to our beginning health is to let ourselves know the feeling, and in the appropriate conditions to let those feelings be stated, so that we can start from a place that is solid, rather than having to guess or hint or in some way just think we know when we don't know. And probably more of the most horrible things have happened in the world because people have not stated clearly where they were. And what is more intimate in relationships than relationships among parents and children? And whenever there are families that are blended, always the other parents have to be dealt with? And could they all come to an honorable place so that everyone can have a chance at a real new life?